Coming to you live from the One More and I'm Out of Here / Illegal Shift Studios.
Testing.
Of course, fucking dickhead.
Testing.
How I fixed the camera and you still end up moving over that way. I don't understand.
There's a lot of me to fit in here. I mean, I'm
Jesus
sorry.
Christ.
There's a lot. You know?
I literally adjusted the camera.
Let's just get here.
Anyway, here we are.
How do you feel? Your seat's comfortable.
We're all nice and tight. Here we are.
There's a joke in there.
I'm gonna. Oh, dude, there's so many jokes.
Today's show might be a little bit different.
Full disclosure, I am hammered drunk because I played in a fireman golf outing.
Slightly buzzed.
And it was awesome. We almost won.
Great.
We were close. But we appreciate you guys being here. Andrew is angry as he typically is.
I am not. I'm just excited.
Is that what that is?
That's what that was.
Joe Boy, I'm going to use this later on. When I think you're mad, I'm going to be like, no, you're just excited.
You're just excited. There's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on in the world. The world is spinning faster and faster, and I feel like I want to get off.
I'm fired up.
You're fired up?
I am absolutely fired up.
Well, you know what? Then we both are fired up, and God knows what's going to happen today's show.
So I know that we did.
Waiting for the text from my mom and dad.
How do I log on?
How do I log on? It's okay.
So I know you weren't able to be a part of the honor flight that.
I was not. I was actually at. No, it went off yesterday. Today's Wednesday. I realize that you don't know what day it is. But that was
not
yesterday.
Be that ignorant.
No, you were. But I'd like to say that I did monitor it. I was out of town, and I will tell you that they estimated there was close to well over 1,000 people at the welcome home ceremony. Apparently, you could not find a parking spot at CVG
that is
to
so
welcome
cool.
them home,
Wow.
and that is amazing. So, public, thank you.
I love that.
And Honor Flight thanks you. And the pictures were fantastic. Looked like they had a great time. And I just, I can't say enough about Honor Flight Tri-State. They do a great job.
Yes, sir. And I know you have a ton to do with that.
I'm heavy, but I don't know if I'd say a ton.
A metric ton.
I do a very small part, and I do mean that. I do a small part. But there's a lot of people that do so much more and are so dedicated to that cause, and without their involvement, it probably wouldn't be nearly as successful. And they know who they are, and I'd miss probably half of them, but you see the same people when you go to those things. And for folks that I'd like to just throw this out here before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. For folks that want to get involved, they said, well, I wanted to be a guardian, but I've heard this several times. I want to be a guardian, but I'm too old because for legal reasons, I believe it's 70 that we cut off the guardian age, just for liability. And, whenever there's rules that aren't fun, you can always trace it back to an attorney somewhere. But
facts.
There are so many folks that work the ground crew, and the ground crew is the people that welcome you home, the people that organize the event, the people that help the volunteers get to where they need to be. And, you can be part of the ground crew and be a very important part of Honor Flight Tri-State without having to get on the plane. And we need those people. So, don't think you can't help and volunteer, because we have need of you and use for you. So please volunteer.
That's awesome. Those guys coming home, like, going to go see those memorials and then coming home and actually getting a warm welcome, I think is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, so it's great. And looks like we have a fan watching here. Who's it? Do you know a Dan Carroll?
Never heard of her. I've never heard of her.
Dan is watching the show today. So Dan, nice shout out back to you, and miss you, buddy, and hope to see you back here soon.
Good man.
Yes.
Well,
Jason's reading, so we're going to have some lag. Remember, Jason's hammered today, so this might be a good show to discuss the effects of alcohol on the human brain and how it slows down your reaction time.
It's called CTE.
Okay.
No, so our big topic, obviously,
lots of topics today,
because we haven't talked since the second attempt on our former president / presidential candidate.
Yep.
I want your thoughts first, because I have so many things to ask you guys, both of you, but I want to hear your thoughts first before I answer questions.
All right. Well, number one, guess what the worst part of the government, I would say, in the last 2 months, as far as performance review, the most scrutinized part of the United States government employees, every single person in the Secret Service management chain and the protective service operations all got promotions this week on Tuesday. Every one of them. And to me, seems kind of funny with all the whistleblowers. What do you guys think? That had to be a little bit of a payoff to kind of quiet down the whistleblowers and stop the hemorrhaging, I think, internally. You obviously have, within the Secret Service, you have a intelligence division, you have an investigations unit with the Treasury with counterfeit, you have internal affairs, but the most scrutinized one is the protective service detail group. All the management chain got promotions, and that just makes me want to vomit, really.
Well, is that like when someone's not doing, I've heard in government sometimes when someone's not doing a good job, rather than get rid of them, having to deal with arbitration and maybe them fighting the firing, they'll just say, "Oh, well, we're going to promote you.
We'll promote you. You're in charge of buying."
There was a Seinfeld. I remember a Seinfeld that they kept promoting the guy in the Peterman organization. He was terrible. He started off as I think the janitor, and they just kept promoting him. So they didn't want to fire the guy.
So like my thoughts with this. So everybody knows Donald Trump goes and plays golf. That's it. That's his thing. When he's not on the campaign trail, he's playing golf.
For the most part. I mean, he does a lot. I mean, he does a lot of events that aren't necessarily, he does a lot of fundraising events that may not be full blown campaign events.
He is allowed as a man,
yes,
to go fucking play golf
and live. Wait. You mean he's allowed to be alive, right? Let's just establish that first and foremost. Okay.
But he's allowed to go play a round of golf.
Yeah.
Or if he wants to play fucking 7 rounds of golf. I don't give a shit what he's doing. Whatever. My question is, I'm not going to say where I work, but where I work, we have a drone bus that covers, we have the ability, we do University of Cincinnati football games and put Overwatch with drones.
Yeah.
Who flies the drones?
Which have thermal technology, by the way, that can spot a man in the woods.
Can you teach me how to fly a drone?
Yes,
because I've got an expensive.
Is he really?
He's good at something.
Yeah, he's really good.
We have multiple people. So here's
a newfound respect. I want to. Let's get back to this. So, can I be a drone pilot?
No. Damn it. No, because you're a dick.
God damn it. Can I be a don't?
But here's my thing, Andrew. Like I think you would understand. Like, if he's going out to play golf, obviously they throw their Overwatch out. And I heard the whole, there's a Secret Service guy out, whole head and this and that. How in the fuck can this guy sit there for 12 hours?
Yeah.
And you don't have a drone that has FLIR capabilities, which my small department does.
Could you explain to the listening audience what
that thermal technology is available, right?
Since you think everyone understands your jargon. What is FLIR?
It's heat. It's heat.
Infrared
heat signature.
Okay, so that means that you can see things that are hidden by their heat signature.
You can
see through bushes and trees. And
exactly.
Stuff. Okay, thank you. I just want everyone to understand since you're inebriated.
I don't give a fuck.
I know, but so let me ask you a question.
But why didn't nobody see this guy?
Well, first of all, why didn't anybody?
Hours.
I think you're asking a great question. With technology nowadays, the amount of the federal agency budget, which is limitless, why is it so difficult for them to just simply launch a drone over a golf course and maybe see if there's someone, I don't know, sitting in the woods with a gun for 12 hours?
That's because
rather than just an agent one hole ahead. Hey, it's good. Come on through. It's all great.
Right. I looked at it. It's good. So the drones, like the drone that I personally have that's sitting in that room over there.
It's inside?
I can literally
wait. The drone's
shut the fuck up, Andrew.
Let's go play with it. Can we play with it?
You irritate him. This is going to be a long day.
I mean,
no, I can put the drone that I have up, and if I wanted to go play golf today, I could lock it onto me.
And it would follow you.
And it would follow. And when I stopped, it would stop. If I hit another shot and I got in the cart, it would still.
Seems like a pretty common sense.
And that is that's a domestic drone.
That yeah. Can you imagine what they have? I mean, can you imagine what the government probably has access
We
to?
have
like
a
military.
We have a
drones.
$20,000 drone in this drone team, and has FLIR, has all the infrared, all the shit. A 500 times zoom.
500.
500.
Can it get pizza?
It's impressive.
Can it pick up a pizza?
No,
damn it.
Not yet.
Let me ask you guys
this.
this.
I've got all these ideas in my head.
But Andrew, how about Butler? And they talked about a Butler that the local police had the drones available, and the Secret Service turned it down. And then here we go again. They said they were going to improve, and the management decided not to use additional assets and not to use drones. And what have you heard all week? You've heard about some guys walk, which hats off to that Secret Service agent that saw a barrel.
That saw the barrel of the gun. Yes. Let's be clear. Let's be clear that what prevented, first of all, as we discussed before the show started, it's referred to constantly in the press as what? An alleged assassination attempt. You see the difference? See the little nuance there?
Right.
It's an alleged. So, but to be clear, the Secret Service agent saw a gun sticking out of the bush. He's like, hey, that doesn't look right.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then engaged, and then the target ran. So let's set the backdrop.
Let's give that credit. But then that's where it stops at the inside protective detail, because when they talk, what I'm so tired of hearing on the news the last 4 days is they talk about those folks were walking 1-2 holes in front. That's not a sweep. A sweep is when you go and sweep the entire site before President Trump arrives at the golf course. And that's the thing that's just most frustrating to me is, you sweep it, you post it, and you hold it. So they go out and do that search. Now, the number one vantage point at Butler was left completely wide open, 130 yards on a roof. They let that go.
Right.
And then there's one spot on the 5th hole that they say the paparazzi and photographers use.
Right. I've heard that.
And that's the number
and
one.
It's well known. It's well known.
He lays there for 12 hours
Right.
and they don't sweep it, post it and hold it. So let's, guys walking ahead is not a sweep. So again, we chose not to sweep. We chose not to use drones. And there you go again. To me, it's gross negligence. And this is getting to the point when you listen to, Corey Mills from Florida, the House rep, you listen to Eli Crane, House rep from Arizona, you listen to Dan Bongino, everybody is saying gross negligence. This is getting to the point where it's coordinated.
Right. And this is, let's be clear, this is the top of the Secret Service. This isn't the detail that's protecting the president.
Yep. Absolutely.
This is the people running the Secret Service.
Yes.
And the deep state government that might be helping coordinate whatever is happening. Now, I'm not making any accusations here. However, I'm old enough to remember that, and to observe that in my lifetime, we had Reagan was a attempted assassination on Ronald Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was in the 60s. George Bush had a shoe thrown at him during a press conference, but that was about it. I think he dodged it. I think he threw it back. I can't remember, but we haven't had a lot of these. And the first one should have absolutely shaken the agency to its core and shaken the American public. However, we are now the second assassination attempt in 2 months on not only a former sitting president, which is disturbing enough, but a candidate for the office of president.
Yeah. Yes.
And on the left, they just, and the media for that matter, I'll say this, I'll go a little bit further. Shocking. The media, they just don't give a shit. Nobody cares. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, they just brushed past it. Hey, there was I remember the breaking news of the first assassination attempt initially. Trump, how did they phrase it? Trump dodges or Trump reacts to loud noises or something along those lines. Okay,
there was a bang or something.
Yes, so Trump got disturbed by loud noises. So they're called gunshots and bullets.
Right.
Now the second thing, so they brushed past that. So 2 months ago, Donald Trump came within an inch of having his head blown off, literally. But nobody gives a shit anymore. Mm-hmm. They've moved past that. No one cares because the news cycle is so short. And to be fair, the news is complicit. The media, the mainstream media is complicit in this and not caring. And then now we have a quote unquote alleged assassination attempt, and they're downplaying. They're already poo-pooing it. They're already like, oh yeah, yawn. Huh, who cares? No big deal. Well, the guy didn't shoot. Well, I'm sorry. He had I believe it was either an SKS or was it an AK-47?
AK-47.
They said an AK-47. To me, it didn't look like. It looked more like an SKS, but
I mean, that's a very minor difference.
either way.
But it had optics, it had a scope,
Right.
and the guy had rounds. And he had actually ceramic plates protecting his position, so he was prepared to take incoming fire. And ceramic plates means bulletproof plates for those that may not grasp that. And no one really cares. And the other question, I mean, this has so many questions. We still don't have any answers. Let's be fair, folks. We don't have any answers from the first assassination attempt.
Correct.
We don't know the background really of the kid. We've heard he had encrypted communication devices, if I'm not mistaken. He had encrypted overseas bank accounts, from what I've heard. The problem is,
three encrypted phones,
hanging out by an FBI office.
What the problem is that what we don't know is spawning all these questions and conspiracy theories, and that's dangerous. And then now this guy, I've seen videos. This guy managed to travel. Didn't look like a particularly successful human being. I mean, as far as socioeconomically, I'm not being critical. I'm just saying he didn't look like he was rolling in the dough, a playa. But a playa. But he traveled. He was in North Carolina, then he was in Hawaii, and then just for shits and giggles, he goes over to Ukraine, which I heard is really nice this time of year. I mean, besides the fact it's a war zone, and he interviews with the Ukrainian government to try to volunteer to be a freedom fighter for the Ukrainians. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. We do have. I've seen a lot of chatter online that, he was a Republican and Donald Trump's blah, 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 blah caused him to switch sides and it was Donald Trump's fault, that Donald Trump's extremism drove him crazy. We have a photograph of his truck. Can I ask Jason if he's, I realize he's inebriated, but can you pull up?
I was trying to find a fucking video.
I knew that he would do this.
So, but Andrew, have you seen his interviews with the New York Times, his live interview? Because
I have not.
Yeah, he was there.
That's what I was trying to find.
He was there interviewing Muslims to fight for Ukraine. That was part of what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
And he brags about it. He broke down in tears. A couple of things along the way when you talked about Bush and that shoe. Wasn't it Dana Perino that got hit in the eye and got a black eye from that shoe? I believe his press secretary.
I think so.
But second, another point, Jason, you guys talked about, President Trump himself said about the golf, not the backdrop, but he said about the golf. That's his form of exercise at 77 when he's on a plane.
Hey, man, he doesn't need any excuse to play golf. I mean, you know what? I mean, I know people
that's his words, though.
I mean, he can do whatever he wants to do. And, the man's able to play golf. And I'll tell you right now, he's 77. He looks in good shape. He's fit. I know this. He's up early and he stays up late and he works all damn day. Which is
get outside and do something.
Which is a really big change from what we have in the Oval Office right now. But anyhow, since we're having some technical human difficulties, and someone's not pulling up the damn picture that I sent him.
There. I got it right there, motherfucker.
There we go. So can you zoom in on that a little bit? You can't?
I don't know that I can zoom.
Okay. Well, if I want folks to understand something, that is not a Trump sticker on the back of the guy's work truck. That's a Harris Biden sticker. And I find it highly offensive and highly immoral that everyone is blaming press, the left, is blaming Donald Trump for the fact that he's being shot at. Let me say this. Donald Trump has called, and J.D. Vance have called Hillary Clinton, have called, sorry, Freudian slip there, have called Kamala Harris a socialist, a communist, and a fascist. But I'd like to correct the record for a second, if I might. So they equate calling her fascist as equal to Democrats calling, many Democrats and the press and liberals, labeling Donald Trump a existential threat to democracy, which they say often. And they also label him as bad as Hitler. He's a Hitler.
That house, what is he doing? Well,
yeah, that house, that's my kind of my point. That house, I don't know if it's a duplex or not, and there's a little delay here since someone changed the damn screen.
Put it back up.
But the man had the means to travel, and it doesn't look like. I guess he shot his wad on his travel budget, not his home. But here's the deal: they're calling Donald Trump Hitler. They're calling Donald Trump a threat to an existential threat to democracy, which means like really immediate, right?
Yeah.
They don't understand. And they say, well, he's calling her a fascist. Fascism is state-run private industry, the state control of private industry. Okay, that's what fascism is. So calling Kamala Harris a fascist is not labeling her Adolf Hitler or something like that. It's saying she is in favor of having the state control private industry. And that's pretty much documented by some of her statements.
100%.
So that's not going to drive, last I checked, the only people that are being driven to madness. So if you have someone that's maybe, I don't know, on the mental scale of craziness, sitting there saying, oh my God, if they could go back in time, I don't know what he's doing. If they could go back in time, if someone could be a hero and go back in time and kill Adolf Hitler, would they? I mean, there have been movies made by this.
They try.
So you got some nut job out there going, well, he's Hitler.
The movie Valkyrie, they had that.
That's right. So they're sitting there saying, well, I believe, they're saying he's Hitler and I'd be a hero. I'm going to go down in the annals of history of being a hero if I take this guy out. Let me ask just a very simple question. Are you both? Donald Trump is not someone that hasn't been in office. He was in office for 4 years. Was he Hitler during those 4 years?
It's unreal.
Was he a threat to democracy over those 4 years?
Yeah.
Now, they're going to point to his speech January 6th and then claim that incited. But I remember they keep using they leave out a phrase of his speech. And I can't remember. What was it? Oh, peacefully and patriotically march to the Capitol and let your feelings be known. Okay. He didn't say go break into the Capitol. He didn't say go walk through doors that the Capitol Police are holding open saying, hey, come on in. The water's fine. He didn't do any of that. Now, I'm not in favor. And I stated clearly, if anyone wants to go back, like some of the trolls around here, some of the sassy trolls that are quite assy, if they go back and they look at my tweets, as soon as or my text, and they, or that, what is it that Watchful Eyes of Anderson Uncensored, run by some trolls over there in Mount Washington. Oh, these people are just soulless.
Unreal.
But anyway, at the end of the day, here's the deal. As soon as I saw that there was violence or people were breaking into the Capitol, I said, don't break the law. Stop. Don't break the law. There's no excuse for breaking the law.
You could be there.
Just don't break the law. And yet we've made this that was the insurrection. Well, it's a pretty shitty insurrection when no one has a weapon except for the person that got shot by the Capitol Hill police. That was, Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah. Roseanne Borland was beaten unconscious, by a.
But they still spread this lie that multiple police officers died that day. That's not true.
Guy had a stroke.
Guy had a stroke on the day.
48 hours later.
Some people did die at the event, but from what I understand,
when you have that many people,
well, you had a couple of strokes, you had a couple of drug overdoses, from what I understand, and heart attacks. So that happens. But nobody was trampled to death and no one was beaten to death.
We're going to have a guest
on the Capitol Hill side.
We're going to have a guest on
another
podcast because last night I was fortunate enough to, our friend James McGee invited me onto his podcast, and
so it's like a quid pro quo.
His friend Deidre was there.
Oh, okay.
And to sit there and talk with her, have this conversation, and her telling her story.
My brother's leaving disparaging remarks.
Literally being there.
I got to be honest with you. So when I heard about, I was here in Cincinnati, and I heard about, there was going to be a big rally, and I was kind of kicking the idea around. Now first of all, I don't know about you guys. I'm not a big fan of crowds. I just don't like going and standing in crowds.
I wouldn't go to that.
Well, but I was like, you know what? I like political events, and I've gone to some in DC that are cool. I went to the Glenn Beck had a deal way back in the day called Restoring Honor, and it was on the mall in DC, and there was probably about 1 million people there. It was really cool and really nice. But I digress. The point of the matter is I usually stay away from concerts, football games, crowd. Well, unless it's college, but I mean, I don't like crowds. It's just not my gig. So I didn't go. But I did kick the idea around of going, and caused one of the. So did you?
Yeah, I did.
It caused one of the local nut jobs that responded. What was her name again? I gotta think. Oh,
one of your faves.
Yeah, Erica Chiswick left a lot of messages on neighborhood answering machines, just saying that the Capitol was burning. But I think P&G yanked her chain. She's pretty much shut her mouth for the last several years. But whatever.
This guy, this assassin, whatever you want to call him, this moron from Ukraine. But he basically, in his manifesto or book that he had written about Ukraine, he begged the Iranian government, his own words, his own writing. He begged the Iranian government to kill Trump.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that.
Did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah, he sure did. I mean, it's right there.
There's a lot of answers. I mean, there's a lot of questions that need answers. There's a lot of answers that need to be given. And we're going to see what happens. It is now September. What is today? The 19th?
19th.
That was good. There's plenty of time to answer these questions before the election. I have one final question before you play whatever, since you're inebriated.
Well, I'm going to play this fucking idiot.
Okay, but let me ask you this. What are the people that are currently, and Jilly said upstairs, blaming Trump, it's never the victim's fault, but what are they going to say if one of these knuckleheads is successful? What are the Democrats actually gets it done? What are the thoughts and prayers? I mean, can you imagine Nancy Pelosi out there going like this, going, "Oh, I'm so sorry that this happened." Well, you can't have it both ways. Is the media going to feign crocodile tears if and when somebody is successful? I mean, that's my point. And then what does the rest of the country do in response to something like that happening?
But 25% of registered Democrats in the poll this week, just 2 days ago, said that they would celebrate America would be better off if President Trump was killed. 25%.
That's frightening. You talk about a party.
That just happened.
Well, but that's a party of hate. That is a party of hate.
Yeah, 25%.
That is a party that celebrates death in several ways.
Yep.
And that is a party that is devoid of morality. And
it's a party of violence.
It's
though.
a party of violence,
Antifa.
Absolutely. And that is a branch. That is and you're absolutely correct. And that is one of their, that is one of their branches. That's one of the people that support them.
Right.
That's one of the people. That's one of the. Look at the squad in D.C. I mean, these are violent people spewing hate, and the election's close. The election's going to be close. All the polls are showing it's going to be close. We're just here talking about it because if you ask me, it's a pretty clear choice. It's a very clear choice of the direction we need this country to go in. But I'm appealing to those people that might be sitting on the sidelines saying, "Well, I'm going to vote, and that's what I'm going to do." Well, you better make sure that you vote. You better make sure that everyone votes, and you better make sure that maybe you do a little more than voting, like getting involved in elections.
Well, and when I brought up all the questions that the drone, why do we not have better Overwatch?
Oh, it's a great question.
Over, he's playing golf. I mean, I literally could have taken my drone today and followed me.
I'm taking your drone home.
So I don't understand why. I'm not blaming the boots on the ground, but why he is not getting the support that he actually should.
They delayed
being a candidate.
Man, they delayed. They
not a former president. I'm talking.
No, as a candidate. Well, they didn't even give freaking RFK Jr. a Secret Service protection for the longest time.
Well, until Trump got shot.
Right, and given his family history, I mean, that would be the first person. He was an actual candidate as well, a third-party candidate. And they're like, "Oh, we can't afford that." Oh, really? Really?
So I was.
This is where the federal government suddenly being fiscally responsible with the Secret Service. We're going to cut back.
First candidate ever denied, by the way.
Right. I was trying to be, just normal dude, just fucking Google searching. But Jill and I were sitting upstairs. How many Secret Service agents do former presidents get?
They don't know that. They won't disclose it.
And you cannot get a straight.
Well, by design, you're not going to get a straight answer.
Which, I'm not ignorant enough to know, to think that they're going to tell me, "Oh, they get 7." I understand that,
right?
But he obviously has not gotten. President Trump has not gotten nearly.
Well, you hit the amount. You hit the nail on the head, because remember when Ted Cruz, I think you and I talked about Ted Cruz. He said specifically, "I did not ask the number," because obviously he would do a Ron Rowe running over for Cheadle and takes over, and he's worse than many people, including Dan Bongino, said he's way worse than she was, and she was as bad as it gets. He's the one that hid all the text messages from the bomber outside the DNC, January 6th.
Right.
That's a whole nother story. I want to go down that. But what Cruz said was specifically, he said, "I didn't ask him the number because he would have gave me a run around. But I asked him, is it 3 times, 5 times, 10 times more in a presidential detail?" And he kept trying to go in layers and speak in different terms, which were all just to follow up. And Cruz said that all those times Ron Rose said, "I'll get you that information. I'll get you that information." As of last week, he's gotten nothing from Ron Rowe.
Right.
I mean, this is.
We got a problem.
It's time that everybody's got to quit worrying about saying it's a conspiracy theory, which we all know that the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is 6 months. You know, what we have right now is
so true.
We have this is criminal negligence, and this is the high. You got 2 reps. Why would Speaker Mike Johnson leave off Eli Crane and Corey Mills, 2 sharpshooters? Why would he leave them off the investigative unit? Because they want to bury it and just pass it along. They're not letting it happen. Either one of them will. And now you have Bongino, you have other people saying, and even Cruz is wondering, they're not going so far as saying it's a conspiracy but they're saying that this is not a coincidence. Many mistakes.
Look,
they're essentially saying
it's coordinated effort.
It's fucked up
to kill the guy.
And what's it going to take? But anyway, so that's our segment tonight on the shooting. And as you can tell, we're frustrated. I think the listeners are frustrated. I think the American public is frustrated. These are our tax dollars that are at play here, and I think we deserve more and better answers than we've been given, and we should demand that our federal government do better because we're the United States of America.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. In current news, we're going to segue now over to another national government that's doing quite well in certain aspects of their espionage type activities.
I hope you don't have a pager on you right now.
I do not have a pager, but I got to tell you, I don't know if folks are aware, but it's been alleged because they haven't confirmed it because they're sneaky little bastards. But it's just the most. This will go down. What happened in the Middle East in the last couple of days will go down in the history books as probably the greatest. I guess you would call it espionage or counter warfare or whatever you would call it.
By the
Mossad in the history of the world to date. Now, God knows what's going to happen in the future, but it was called Operation Castration.
That's essentially what it is.
It's actually not true, but it's really funny.
But it's essentially what it is.
Made some. No, I'm sorry, not castration. Operation Circumcision.
Circumcision.
There you go. Because we're just gonna blow a little bit off.
Now everybody's clipped.
That's right. So so when I saw the first report, and they're like, "Oh, so folks don't know approximately." So a day or two ago, I think it was 2 days ago.
2 days.
At the exact same time, approximately 2,700 pagers exploded all at the same time. Now, these pagers were being used by Hezbollah to use as communication devices because they were afraid that the Israelis, through their prior use of missiles through the windows of buildings to take out their leadership, were tracking their cell phones. So they're like, "Hey, man, we're ditching the cell phones."
Text me boobless on your pager. 80087.
So they switched to and look, I'm not trying to make light of if any innocents were killed here, but
you still have to. I mean,
there was a child that was killed.
There was, so let's show that. Let's be. I'm sorry about that, but we're talking about a war, and we're talking about some, trying to minimize collateral damage, right?
A group that decapitated babies, killed, raped repeatedly, and filmed
innocent and filmed it, right?
Yeah,
so the Israelis, and this is what's being found out a little bit because 2 days ago, so you're not going to know a ton of information, and then a day later, a bunch of walkie-talkies blew up. So these guys are just so good. So what they did was,
here, I'm going to play it real quick.
Yeah, let's play it now. What are we playing here? We're playing the hospital scene.
Yeah, this is the hospital.
So this is just a quick scene from a hospital over there, and I want everybody to notice maybe what jumps out at you, the type of injuries that you're looking at, and the amount of people that have overloaded the hospital. Dick.
Another dick. Leg.
All right. I mean, it goes on for a while. Right. So you get the scale of not only injury, hip injury, leg injury. Are we on? Or
Yeah,
you?
I pulled it off.
Well, then stop playing it.
I'm stopping it.
Okay. Well, then now stop it. Then put us back on. We
You're
on?
yelling at me.
Okay. Stop. Okay.
We never went off.
Oh, we weren't? Okay. So I don't know. You got the control panel. I don't. So
Exactly.
anyhow, I don't know how many people died. They said several people died. I don't know that we have an exact number, but I mean, so what the Israelis did, the Israelis intercepted that Hezbollah placed an order for these pagers. Okay. The manufacturer, I think it was one of your Asian countries. I want to say it was maybe, China or one of them. I'm not sure. Manufactured them, shipped them. The Israelis intercepted the shipment. Then very quickly and seamlessly modified the pagers
with bombs,
with C4 or bomb, some sort of bomb, and then closed them back up and made the shipment. So that the manufacturer honestly did not know. The shipping agency did not know. The airline did not know.
They're just pushing it.
Nobody knew. As far as everyone's concerned, hey, where's our stuff? Hey, there's your box over there. Go get it. Yeah. So, and then they just quietly sat on it. And I don't even know when they did it, but the Hezbollah has been shifted away from cell phones now for a while. So this could have been sitting out there for 6 months or so. And then Israel sent the signal and they all blew up simultaneously. Now, obviously, I'm not relishing or celebrating the fact that any innocents were killed, but most of, if not everybody that had that pager was a member of Hezbollah, and that's a terrorist organization. It's actually a front organization for Iran, if you don't know what Hezbollah is. And even the ambassador to Iran had one of their pagers, and he was injured because it blew up. But I have to say that not only the people that did not die, the Israelis have assets in every one of those hospitals. So now they know everybody that was at the hospital with a pager injury. The Israelis have their name and face.
Yes.
So they're now probably their days are marked in some fashion, or they're going to just go underground. So it is just it
was brilliant.
It was beyond brilliant. I mean, this is stuff that you couldn't even make up in a movie, and they pulled it off. And that shows that, these are people dedicated to winning the war and defending their country.
I'm going to throw some.
I don't even know. Do you think I'm going to ask a serious question. I'm going to ask both of you. Do you think the United States could pull this off?
They wouldn't, because there's leaks. They would tip off the Iranians, who would tip off Hezbollah, because we have Iranians in the United States, in the White House right now that are connected assets. That's been proven. That's not even. I'm
not disputing you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but we would never be able to get it out there, because our United States would leak it. Is what I'm trying to say.
Now I heard they asked the.
We would leak it.
I think. Do we have a picture of that? I don't think I sent you the picture, but they did ask Netanyahu about the question. They said, did you guys do this? And I found his answer very, very curious, the way he answered the question. Did you want to know what he said to the interviewer? Well, I was raised in a middle-class family.
Is that what he said? I did not.
No, but that seems to be the answer du jour. Getting to Kamala Harris,
middle-class kid.
I was raised a middle-class kid. Yeah. So I mean,
all week.
That's
all
her
month,
answer. That's the answer. So look, I am.
Hold on, that's a perfect segue.
That's a perfect segue into our next topic.
But have you ever heard, real quickly? Have you ever heard? The answer is, I know you haven't, but with the regular CNN, MSNBC, ABC, all the news, why don't they won't talk about the fact of what's been proven with Hamas hiding in hospitals, schools, mosques, using people as human shields. It's just not discussed enough, and it's hard to believe, what they're willing to do to sacrifice their own people for terror. I mean, it's that simple.
Hey, look, that is a conflict that's been going around, for how many thousands since man existed, and I'm not going to pretend like it's going to get solved anytime soon. But like we discussed in the last show, I do think that the best choice of the best hope of solving it is putting Donald J. Trump in office, and I think he would get that situation solved in a very a very short amount of time.
Here's a perfect reason why you should vote for Donald J. Trump.
First house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, construction workers and nurses and teachers, and
Well, you didn't show
I
the
try to
question.
explain this to some people who may not have had the same
What's the
experience.
question?
You know, but a lot of people will relate to this. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn. You know,
Their lawn.
and I was raised to believe and to know that all people deserve dignity, and that we as Americans have a beautiful character. You know, we have ambitions and aspirations and dreams, but not everyone necessarily has access to the resources that can help them fuel those dreams and ambitions. So when I talk about building an opportunity economy, it is very much with the mind of investing in the ambitions and aspirations and the incredible work ethic of the American people and creating opportunity.
So this clip,
This was a question asking her a specific question about what she was going to do to help the economy, to fix the economy. And I mean, this is just like the debate the other night that was just horrific. That she just won't answer a question. Her answer to every question is that she was raised a middle-class kid.
Quit banging your hand.
I'm just telling you, I'm getting kind of pissed off. Where is the press? Where is any sense of dignity in your job as a journalist to ask a question and expect an answer other than this bullshit that she was raised, which is actually not correct, but whatever.
That's the other part.
That's the other part that pisses me off.
Two parents
I
were
was raised
professors.
a middle class. I was raised in a middle class family. No, you weren't, and that's not the goddamn answer. Who gives a shit how you were raised? But hey, whatever.
Lived in Canada for a long period of time.
Lived in Canada for
she leaves that out.
Yeah, she leaves that out because that would, maybe people would question.
I'm the one that's I'm the one that's drunk and you're all fired.
Well, I mean, it just pisses me off, and I see and I see these people. They asked, I forget which one it was. I forget, it was one of the news things, and the guy had
so good.
Oh no, I didn't tell you what it was a Clay and Buck show, and they asked some guy called in, and Clay and Buck took over for Rush Limbaugh for those that don't listen to talk radio incessantly, but whatever, I got a lot of time on my hands. So anyway, here's the deal.
Loser.
So they asked
earned time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes, that's not true, but anyway, they asked the guy calls in, he says, hey, listen, I'm a Democrat, I'm voting for Harris. And they said, listen, we have Democrats. We're glad you called in. Why are you voting for Kamala Harris? Without saying without saying the word Donald Trump, please tell me why you're voting for Kamala Harris. Well, but Donald Trump, they said, whoa, stop. Stop just a second. Just stop. Why are you voting for Kamala Harris? Name me one thing she's done. And he couldn't answer the question. And then he said, well, I feel she'll be more presidential. And I feel this, but he said, can you point to one accomplishment? Just one. Couldn't be done. So that's why I get pissed off, because in today's world where we have limitless access to information through the computer, through the interweb, interwebs, thanks to what's his face, Al Gore.
Oh man.
I just get pissed off. You cannot be, unless you just are, just choose to be this blissfully ignorant about the reality of the world and about the reality of where we find ourselves. She won't answer a question. She goes down these rabbit holes, and we've got several. The next section of the show is dealing with how she won't answer questions and how the media doesn't hold her accountable. And I'm pissed. I'm sorry. I get pissed off.
Andrew, the whole game plan is smaller cultural issues that we have to be fighting with each other. It's been going on for years, right?
Right.
Constantly got to have us fighting. Say, look the other way. Did you hear Hillary Clinton this week saying that she believes that
she's still alive?
Civil and criminal charges should be put against anyone if they don't believe with her, her misinformation, which means you don't agree with their politics.
That sounds kind of fascistic, doesn't it?
Oh, she came right out and said it.
I mean, they don't
even hide it.
They don't hide it, and the other thing is that we have so many videos, because Kamala is not necessarily new to the game. She's been, in politics for just a very little while. I mean, a short time, but she was in politics in California, and she's made some really astounding statements regarding the rights of the government to come into your home just to inspect for guns and make sure they're being stored safely. I mean, I'm sorry, you're not busting. I mean, we had I don't know if I said it to you, but we had the video of the guy that he did. I forget where it was. I think it was here in Ohio, because I think it was Ohio plates on the car. But 2 FBI agents show up to this guy's house because he did a tweet. So these 2 klutzes show up, and I'm not calling all FBI agents klutses. But the guy's sitting in his house, right? He's
awesome.
Outside. Did you see it?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the guy's sitting there, and what do you have? And I wish we had the video, but I'm sorry, Jason, my fault. The brain, misfired. I didn't send it to you. The guy's sitting there, and 2 FBI agents walk into the house, say, "Hey, we want to talk to you." And the guy's like, and this guy was taking no shit. I salute the guy because he was taking no shit. He goes, "Show me some ID."
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, here's my badge." He goes, No.
Full name.
No.
Bad. Yeah.
I'd like some ID, with your name and picture on it before I speak to you. What do you want to talk to me about? Well, can't we just talk about, are you filming? And they're like, "Well, are you filming me?" He's like, "You're damn right I'm filming. You're on my property. I'm filming you."
It'll be posted as soon
It'll
as you
be
leave my driveway.
Within before. And what did the FBI agents do? As soon as they saw that this guy wasn't taking any of their shit, and they wanted to talk to him about a tweet, man.
Yes.
It wasn't he wasn't making a terrorist threat. If he was, I wouldn't have a problem with them talking to him about it. But it wasn't like he was saying, "I'm going to do X, Y, or Z." They just didn't like his tweet. Yeah. And they show up. That was just kind of like, I mean, I got to be honest with you. My first thought was, when is that door going to get busted down?
It's flashes to the Gestapo, really. I mean, what else can you compare it to?
That is a scary part. I mean, we have the ability on this podcast. We're limited to YouTube,
right?
But going audio, we can say what
we're talking to millions of people.
7 people,
7 million.
But no, I mean, we have the ability to do this, and that's our right to do it.
Yeah, but could you imagine, because of
when,
us exercising our rights guaranteed by the Constitution,
when,
that should
when
not
do,
be abridged by any government
in?
agency, that somebody's not going to like what we say? Like, let's just say that, I don't know, there's a couple of Anderson Township liberals at home chewing on a shoe right now that don't like what we're saying, and they're going to lobby for some state or federal rep to come, get the police to come bust down our door and stop us from speaking just because they don't like it or they're offended by it. Well, you know what? I'm offended by a lot of things. I really am. Things offend me. But you know what? I don't have the right to make you stop saying something that I might find offensive. I just turn the channel.
Facts.
I just don't listen to what you're saying or change the radio station. I mean, I'm not going to try to silence you from your right to say something that I might find offensive. But we've morphed into this country. Now we seem to be a country where no one can be offended. Well, I'm sorry, you can be offended by anything. I mean, look at his face. I'm offended right now. I'm looking at Jason's face. It's offensive.
That face saw a few birdies today. Leave it alone.
That just means I fucking I did something right.
Do you have any birdies today?
Yeah, any birdies.
Did we eagled and
you did you contribute?
It's a fucking scramble.
Did you contribute?
Yes.
They used some of your shots.
Absolutely.
You sure?
Drop putts.
So you're the putter. You're the putter. Did they use
I can't get off the tee. Where the fuck?
That's my question. They use any of your drives?
No,
none. Not one. Par 3.
I don't think so.
Oh man,
nothing.
Yeah, I didn't mean to bring that up. This is probably a sore spot today, but you had fun though.
No, we killed it. We killed it.
I love it.
We had a great day. The
firefighters and
what we had a couple other videos.
But I agree with you, Andrew, in the fact that we should be able to sit here and say what we want to say and feel the way we want to feel. And if you don't agree with it,
don't listen.
I use the moniker "eat a bag of dicks." Don't care.
That's a bit.
Eat a bag of dicks, dude. I don't care.
Can we pick something less than a bag of penises? Can we just not?
No, it's
the whole bag.
It's you have to have all
of them.
All of them.
What size is the bag?
Don't be if you're going to be
a big bag.
If you're going to be that,
I don't even want to process this right now.
if you're going to be that offended, you got to take all of them.
Well, I mean, my point
is, you're a fucking asshole.
Listen, England.
Ireland.
Okay, let me ask you this: England and Ireland. Jason, did you guys see this?
I did.
So the 3 children, I think they were like ages 7 to 9, that were butchered in the daycare facility by a Muslim immigrant that was there.
Right.
And he butchered them with a knife.
Right.
And the gentleman came, and I don't think it was England. I think it was in Ireland. But he said his exact words: "Nothing more, nothing less. Where the F are you, South Fork? Let's hit the streets."
Right.
He just got a 3-year prison sentence for hate speech.
For hate speech.
It's coming to
it's coming to America. So
all the liberals sit back and watch it.
Absolutely,
like nothing's happening.
Absolutely. Here. And you know what else? If you post that video, guess what? It gets taken down because they say it's misinformation.
Let's try it.
And I'll tell you, we are living in.
I'll try it.
There was nothing more in that tweet, right?
There was nothing more.
Let's hit the streets.
Let's hit the streets. Didn't call for anything. Called for protest. Yes. Yeah. And last I checked, protest was legal. They arrested the guy. And he's in prison.
The other guy in England, you had those judges that still wear the wigs, a white wig. That is so ridiculous to me. England in general, but they
drive on the wrong side. Have you ever had English food? I mean, it's not anything you're not going over there to eat. Let's just be honest.
I mean, think about this. They said
they're pale, they're pasty, they don't get out in the sun much. I can't understand a damn word they're saying.
I just don't understand what they're sitting back. But this new prime minister is as leftist as they've ever had. The other guy, and I don't really want to get into all of it to say what he said, but it really wasn't anything bad. He just basically was saying about the Muslim immigrants and the money and taxpayer money. He talked about the percentage of 65-70% of the rapes that were happening in England and he did not want his tax dollars prioritizing these individuals.
Right.
He just got an 18, and he didn't say anything. There was nothing, no hate speech in it, nothing. He just said his tax dollars, the rapes, and Muslim immigrants basically connect those dots, and they gave him an 18-month sentence in prison.
It's headed.
You can YouTube that one.
It's headed towards the United States. I never, and I'll tell you where it kind of started, and I don't want to get too deep into this subject.
Yeah.
But I always had a little bit of a problem fundamentally, theoretically, with when you designated something a crime, a hate crime. And the reason for that was I didn't understand the difference. So if you murder somebody, okay, that's against the law in and of itself. How does it make it worse if you murder somebody but they declared it a hate crime? That's see what I'm saying? I never really understood the logic to that. So then my point is the murder itself should be what you're prosecuting. Right. The impetus behind it is almost irrelevant because, once you go down the road and you're going to kill, or you do kill somebody, you should have the full weight of the law applied to you. It shouldn't be that, if you did it because, he's a fireman, right, that it's worse, that's a hate crime. Suddenly you get what are we going to do? Kill you twice? See what I'm saying? I mean, what are we going to do?
Right.
Almost kill you, but then really kill you the second time? My point is, so then you had hate crimes. Well, the next natural thing now they're talking about is hate speech, like you talked about. So,
how is statistical data? How is that racist? It's a statistical data that's been released by their government.
How are numbers, like you said, how are numbers racist? How is math racist? Math is not racist.
Why are they letting it happen? I don't understand.
Well, because they've had open borders, okay, and they've let a lot of people into their country maybe unvetted, but I'm not sure. But they did have a mass migration into England, and England has lost its identity.
55% of the population in London is Muslim now.
That's true, and it's not London. I mean, it is still, but it's changed so much, and you're losing. What happens to a country when it loses its cultural identity? But I think what they want, it is by the
replacement
design
theory. Let's be honest.
And I think what they want is they want the world to all be the same. So they, if we have a country or there is a part of the world that is either, monochromatic or mono-religious or mono anything, they're going to say that's not good, the powers that be, and they're going to want to, push those countries to change so that the whole world looks the same. You know what I'm saying? So there's no difference between there's countries without borders. There's no difference between one part of the world and the other part of the world, whether it's societally or economically.
Right.
We're all the same. And I think I gotta, I don't know that that's the answer, because honestly,
it's definitely not the answer.
The United States is set up that each state is like a test bed, okay? And each state, whichever state is doing, each state has their way of doing things, and whichever one works, that should rise to the top. And the states that aren't doing as well should probably emulate the states that are doing well, whether it's in economic or it's societal, any issue that we're talking about here. And that was a brilliant thing by the framers, who I believe were divinely inspired, because honestly, if you look at what they did, it's just, anyway, whatever. I'm not going to get too religious on you, but that's my opinion. Brilliant. Let's have a test bed. Let's see who has the best ideas. This is not a one size fits all, but apparently what we've gone to this country over the last several years is one size fits all. And that size comes from Washington, D.C. and goes on down to the states.
Mhm.
And if you don't like it, too damn bad. And if you don't abide by it, too damn bad, we're going to sue you. Much along the lines of, who thought the way you said that England has been overrun with people that don't want to assimilate. Well, I mean, did we even we haven't brought up Springfield, this program, but I mean, who thought it was a good idea?
We're waiting for more shit.
Well, I mean, but let me ask you a question. Springfield is a community of 60,000 people. Who thought it was a good idea to put 20,000 Haitian immigrants or any immigrants, pick a number, pick a city, pick a country, in a community all at one time? I mean,
well, votes Republican, and that's why they designated that area. I promise you.
Look, I've been
It's
contacted.
a red county, red area.
I have people that live near Lockland, okay? And we talked about the Mauritanians in Lockland, right?
Yeah, last week.
Well, somebody sent me a text unsolicited. I get lots of unsolicited texts. No pictures, just texts. But that apparently now a lot of bikes are being stolen in Wyoming, and they're ending up in Lockland for some reason. And you know what? The Wyoming people are pissed about it. Oh, well, you voted this shit in. You deserve, not that you deserve it. No one deserves to be the victim of a crime, but
you allowed
the policies that you support.
You allowed it.
And the political policies that you promote are resulting. This is you're reaping what you've sown.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that you're suffering from crime in Wyoming. I'm sorry that you're suffering from vagrancy in Wyoming, but maybe you want to change your voting pattern and your voting habits and vote for people that want to have strong borders. And if we do have an immigration policy and there are legal migrants, I mean, let's be fair. The Haitian migrants that are in Springfield, those are legal immigrants. You do know that, right? They're protected legal immigrants. I want people to understand that.
What is it? Temporary
protected status.
Temporary protected.
That's that CHNV program I mentioned last time. Right?
Exactly right. But too many people are like, they're illegals that they got up there. That's an ignorant statement. They're not.
That is ignorant. Exactly.
They're not illegal residents. They're legal temporary residents in the United States.
By way of commercial flights.
And there was there was something on the hearings today about the flights, a whistleblower for the Homeland Security, but anyway, or the Border Patrol. But and that's a whole other show. We don't have time. But I mean, look, the federal government, someone in the federal government said, hey, you know what we're going to do? Send 20,000 people over to Springfield. That's a great idea. Let's just send them in a community of 60,000. Let's see what happens. Let's just see how that works out. That's dumb. And I know that another city in Ohio is suffering as well. Findlay, Ohio has a migrant problem. The Haitians are up there that are stretching or stressing the resources of that community. And we pay taxes primarily for infrastructure to take care of the people that are paying the taxes in that local community. I don't think it's fair to those people that live there to say, hey, everything's rosy here. Everything's great. We're going to dump 20,000 legal migrants in your community. You guys deal with it.
You have to be happy with it,
or else. Yeah, and don't say anything bad because that means you're X, Y, or Z.
That's where that.
Why
that's where the hate speech and the hate crime.
Right, the hate speech.
Well, if you question it, you're not a humanitarian. You're a racist and everything else. But
look, it's not. It's just
sanctuary cities they can't even last a week. Andrew, New York City, they're basically tapping out, needing help, and he didn't even take a month of it. Texas cities have been dealing with this for years.
Well, it's nobody gave a shit when it was down in Texas.
No, they don't.
No one gave a shit when it was in Arizona. No one gave a shit when it was in Southern California because they weren't affected. But now that it's affecting them, suddenly their eyes are opening and they give a shit. Well, if you give a shit and you think it's a problem and you don't think that it's a good idea to overrun your local communities, I do have a suggestion for you. You may want to get to the polls and you may want to elect a president that has a better immigration idea than just open the border and let every goddamn person in. Now,
Mark-
that's not saying the people in Springfield are illegals. We already discussed they're legal residents. However, you might want to revisit your immigration policy and have an administration that has a more stringent immigration policy, because we have video and audio of Kamala championing the idea of bringing not only 20,000 Haitian migrants, but just over 350,000 Haitian migrants into
Right.
the United States, because she thought it was the greatest idea ever. If you have a problem in Springfield or any of your communities, Findlay, Ohio, and you're stressed about the influence of having a bunch of legal migrants brought into your community by the federal government with no plan for assimilation and no plan for, I don't know, expanding your social services, whether it's hospitals or whatever, you might want to consider changing your voting patterns if you voted for a Democrat in the past, and say, you know what, that didn't work out so well. I think I'm going to vote for a Republican this time.
And if it hasn't happened to your town yet, it's going to happen soon.
It's going to happen everywhere.
It's fucking coming.
Well, didn't Martha's Vineyard when
yeah, they went crazy. They shipped them right back out.
No, they shipped them to a military base within 24 hours.
Correct.
Out of Martha's Vineyard.
That's right.
But they were too good to house them and take care of these folks.
Well, you know, they didn't
have the resources.
They didn't have the resources, but it's okay for Springfield.
You don't look the same way as I do, so you got to go, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, and these are the very people that are donating the money donating money and supporting the Democrat candidates that bring this stuff. You know, look, if you don't like the policies, we have an election coming up in 30 days, and actually, 30 days starts early voting. Less than 30 days. It's September 19th, so 2 weeks. 2 weeks here in Ohio, plus or minus 2 weeks here in Ohio. Guess what happens? You get to start voting. And if this shit pisses you off and you don't think it's right what's going on in this country, if you don't think it's right, you know, we're winding down the show because we're going on over an hour now. But if you don't think, and we're trying to keep your attention for only an hour, but if you don't think it's right that you're paying more for everything that comes into your house, if you don't think it's right that you're busting your ass to keep your family fed, keep them clothed, keep your kids in school. Oh, by the way, when they show up to that school, there's a bunch of freaking, and I'm not being mean here, but there's a bunch of people that the federal government brought in that don't speak English that are stressing your schools out, that you go to, that you might have to take your kid to the hospital or you yourself to the hospital, but there's a line in the waiting room because it's stressing your infrastructure out. And then almost when you're driving there, something might happen because there's a bunch of people in your community driving without valid driver's licenses that are not obeying the traffic laws. Well, then I have a question. I have a solution for you. You may want to rethink your voting, and you may want to get involved, because in 2 weeks you have a chance to change that, and you can vote for the Republican ticket, whether it's, you know, Orlando Sanza here in Cincinnati for Congress against Greg Landsman, or you can vote for, you know, Bernie Moreno versus Sherrod Brown for our Senate race, on down the line. And I would also like to say, you know, especially if you're in the city of Cincinnati, we've seen the policies that Democrat judges are doing, or the results of having Democrat judges in our county courtrooms. And I'm speaking specifically about Judge Silverstein.
Yeah.
And and her no bail, low bail policies.
Idiot.
And she was I just want, whenever someone complains about, you know, a crime happening that might be a repeat crime because the guy was let out because he had a very low bail, because Judge Silverstein let him out and gave him a low bail. This was brought to you by the Democrat Party that is still promoting judges just based on politics rather than having the best candidate for the job. And it pisses me off 5 ways to Sunday, because those same Democrats now have signs in their yard promoting judges that they don't know jack b shit about, but they're like, oh, they're Democrat, they're good. I'm like, okay, you might want to do a little research, folks. The judges matter. And you know, the biggest race that matters locally here in Hamilton County that's coming up is the prosecutor's race. And if you don't think that matters for your safety here in Hamilton County, I've got another thing. You've got another thing coming. So I would highly recommend you get educated and you vote for Melissa Powers for prosecutor as well, because she is a law and order candidate. And that's the first thing. That's the last backdrop or backstop between us and anarchy, is having, you know, these crime waves that are going unprosecuted, and you don't have recourse because you don't feel safe in your community. And then you're like, well, I can't move because my house that was worth X, Y, or Z dollars is now worth shit because everyone's dumping their houses at the same time because safety's going down the toilet.
Yep. Very,
God, that was well said.
That was that actually. I would never give you a compliment, but that actually was very well said.
Well, I mean, it's just common sense here. I mean, you know, it's I hate
Vote
to
policy
say
for crying out loud. Get off your comfort zone. If
get
you're
out of your
independent.
comfort
Yeah.
zone. You're exactly right. And you know, I'm not saying this because I'm a Republican, although it is convenient. But
Yeah,
I'm
it just so happens.
just so happens
Just
that
so
I'm a
happens.
Republican, but I'm a Republican because
We won elected office, by the way. Not many can say that, man. That's,
whatever.
That's impressive.
It was a very small office,
Hey.
and you know,
At least you gave back.
God, we had so much. I remember those campaigns. They were so much fun. You want to talk about yard sign wars? They were like epic. People were stealing.
It's a
yard signs.
dogfight in this area.
Oh man, it was so
Yeah.
much fun. I miss those days. Not really.
Andrew,
Yep.
when are you
Available.
available next? So
I'm in town, man. I'm
so-
in town. I'm
so
not
we
going
got-
anywhere for a while. I've got some. I've got some woodworking that I'm doing.
Monday or Tuesday.
Gonna
Wh-
whittle.
Which day works better for you, Monday or Tuesday?
You have a debate on the 1st, the vice presidential debate.
What date is that? What day is
That's
that?
Tuesday the 1st, I believe. Or that's we got 3 weeks from that one. Yeah.
Okay, so we got weeks.
You don't forget that one. You said you were going to do a live event.
Yeah, I want to try.
Yeah,
it.
where are we gonna do that at?
We'll figure that out.
When you're sober?
When
Are you getting? Let me
when-
ask you a question.
when I'm not going to get yelled at for
Are you getting
doing
sleepy or hungry? Which one is it?
political
Are you getting sleepy or hungry?
I'm fucking angry.
both.
Angry.
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday doesn't matter to me. I
All
don't
right.
care.
We're gonna.
Why don't you check your schedule?
We're coming back to you Tuesday
Tuesday.
Well-
Why not Monday?
because I just made an
Executive decision.
because you don't want to fucking do it. So
I'm fine either way. but,
Tuesday.
what didn't we cut? Let's talk about what we didn't cover today because I want to make sure
Hold
we
on,
hit it
fuck,
on Monday.
We're already fucking like
I mean, we're a little bit over.
yeah, we're way over.
No, not way over. We've done 1.5 hours shows for Christ's sake.
Can I read you a quote?
Yeah,
real quick?
please do.
I just
Please
wanted
do.
to get your opinion on this.
Yes,
So
yes,
this was
please
from
do.
Robert Kennedy, and I hate to read on this, but I'll make it quick. And he basically said that he was just talking about some of the things you talked about with the government, just the assassinations. But he basically said all the systems that have been put in place, allowing a shift of wealth and power upwards to clamp down totalitarian controls on the rest of us. He said this really got underway during COVID. 3.3 million businesses got shut down with no due process or just compensation.
Right.
$4.3 trillion was shifted from the American middle class to the new oligarchy, he called it, of billionaires. 500 days during COVID, 500 new billionaires were basically created during the lockdown, and the middle class has essentially been obliterated in this country. Money has been shifted upward to State Street, Vanguard, BlackRock, along with other agencies like Big Pharma, Big Tech, Big Ag, all that good stuff, basically sucking the wealth upward, keeping us basically hating at each other and fighting. That's part of the immigration. That's part of, I believe, you might disagree with me, but getting Trump out of the way, no matter what weaponization, whatever you want to say,
Right.
he stands in the way of this plan that's been started back, and that's why they're talking about censorship. The biggest thing I give about Kennedy, even I don't agree with his politics, he basically won that lawsuit against the federal government for censorship. That goes under the
Right.
radar. Nobody talks about it. He also won the NIH and beat Anthony Fauci in a lawsuit. Nobody
Right.
talks about that.
Right.
That was in his book, The Real Anthony Fauci. If anybody has, I guess it's a little
Well,
they laid
Anthony
it out short.
Fauci's not on my favorite list.
What a
so,
great
yeah.
book that was. He was dead on. But he said that the federal government at that time, what he went into is they basically set up these, these design, web design, basically, where they gave the FBI full control of it to spy on us, who then gave it to the CIA, who
Right.
then gave it to the
Right.
IRS, and it went on and on. He won that lawsuit,
Right.
and that was a complete spying and censorship on the United States citizens. And again, it's never talked about. So anybody out there thinking that all these things were some big grand plan that was never going to hit us, it's right in your face, and you basically can research it and look it up. I don't know what else you're waiting on, because if we don't win this election, I don't see how we won't have another 30, 40 million immigrants that'll come into this country. We're all for legal immigration, not illegal immigration. And how do you pay for it? How do you sustain it? They don't care because of what I just mentioned here. And he hit the nail on the head, where these places are running the military industrial complex. The BlackRock owns that. Cargill, all these places buying the Ukrainian land. Now the farmlands are owned by BlackRock. It's all money laundering.
I've heard that.
It's incredible.
It is, and
he's dead on. Really.
I'm not questioning any of that. I'm just saying right now. I mean, where we're at right now, we're 30 days out, like 2 weeks out from early voting here in Ohio. And I do want to talk about these subjects. I think we'll save them for after the election. I think I think from now to the election, we should focus on, because I don't want, look, people, my opinion is people are stressed, and I don't want to be just, overly complicate things. We have a very simple, let's keep them focused between now and November. And I got to say this.
I agree with that though.
But we need to focus on getting everyone within the sound of our voices that agrees with us politically to vote early. And because, as I've said, and I'll say it again in case you missed the last show or the show before that or the show before that, you got to vote early. And everyone's like, well, I mean, I know the fabric of people that are like, I want to vote. I want to wake up on election day and march down there and cast my vote in the polling booth. Okay, that's great. However, what voting early does is it takes the resources, as I explained before, the resources that is going to be spent, keep chasing you, keep hounding you, keep advertising to you, and let them be focused to other folks. So you banking your vote early, you still do march into the Board of Elections here in Hamilton County, and you're able to, get your ballot printed, fill it out at a polling booth, just like you would at your polling station, your polling location at your precinct on election day, and drop it into a box physically. You scan it, not a box, but you scan it, and you get the little flag. And Jason, they'll give you a sticker, a little flag sticker. I know you like those. Put it on your shirt and wear it all day.
I've actually never voted early, but we've talked about it though.
But Maricopa County, remember that they had the wrong ballot sizes, and they had 5-6 hour lines in Maricopa County.
That was the day of the election, right?
Yeah, by design.
That was the day. Right? So I recommend
Andrew has brought me into the realm of voting early.
You need to vote early, and you need to have everyone that if you have a college-aged child at home, make sure they vote early. And depending on where they're registered, because some do register at their school, their college, as their permanent residents, but whatever. I would recommend you get everyone in your family to vote early, and then that'll free you up, because, we all need, especially here locally, we need volunteers to help us man the polls and hand out pink sample voter guides. Because, like I said, going down the ballot, you're not going to know a judge being a Republican or a Democrat. And I highly recommend supporting the Republican judges. You go to gopjudges.com here locally, and you'll get a list. But, outside the polls on election day, if you don't know, we're going to have a voter guide, a pink voter guide that's going to show you all the Republican candidates, so that when you go in and you say, you know what, I don't like the direction of Hamilton County with some of these judges, the decisions they're making, I'm going to support our Republican judges. Oh, here's the list of them. Because when you get in there, trust me, folks, there's a lot of names on the ballot. You're not going to know, Mitch Cumstein from John Cocktoson.
I like what you did there.
So it's
bottom line is be educated.
Be educated. But even educate, and by being educated means, yes, do your own research, but also understand that
fuck up.
Well, but, take the ballot. Take the ballot in with you.
Do we have 4 people with you to the ballot?
Take 3 people. Get your neighbors. Ask your neighbors if they're registered. Get them to vote. Thank you. It's a great idea. Go to church. Talk to people at church.
Yes.
Your golfing buddies, are they voting?
All of them.
Okay, good. Did you ask them?
Yes.
Did you give them a sample ballot?
They're fucking good, hardworking Americans. They're going to vote.
Okay,
well, let's make sure. Excited to vote for the first time. He got his.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's 19, so he'll get his
Fantastic.
first presidential.
Excellent.
He did the work.
That's Hillsdale alum.
Yes, sir.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And my wife went to Hillsdale.
That we taught. Yeah, he's playing football there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the Chargers.
Yeah,
Hillsdale, Michigan. I know right where.
I have to get you up for a game up there.
I've been to the stadium.
Yeah.
Will, we love you. We know you don't watch us, but it's fine.
He actually did the last one.
We still love you.
His dad was on, so he thought he gave us the thumbs up. Man.
Thumbs up, awesome.
We
Hey,
love it.
congratulations. That's raising them right. You know, Hillsdale College, not everyone could go there,
Dude,
but it's a great education.
It's exciting. Yeah, I'm very. Again, we couldn't be in
And
a
they have
better place.
bright future ahead of them. Maybe politics.
God willing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
All right. So actually, I said Tuesday. We're going to do Monday. Monday.
You've changed it back yet
I did.
again. Okay.
Well, I'll be at the fire.
Do we have an announcement? Do we have any announcement? I thought
No.
we were bringing a new
Not-
announcement.
not
I thought we had
today.
a new. I thought we had an announcement.
Not
You're
yet.
going to tease. Are
I-
you still going to tease the
I'm still
announcement?
teasing it.
So tickle it a little bit.
Still teasing it.
Why don't you tickle it?
Just.
Will you be? Is he gonna be back on 700?
It's not a pager. It's
you-
not a pager. Don't
What are you
anybody-
tickling there? God, what's wrong with you?
I'm teasing.
He's at the firehouse again.
teasing the balls.
You gonna be back with Dan on the air? No.
Oh, I don't.
700.
I mean, oh wait, yeah. Dan wanted. Yeah, Dan did say something about that.
Give him a shout out, man. The
Yeah.
man.
I don't know. He'll text me, but you know, it's like so. Dan sometimes sets me up to be on the air way beforehand, and then like the time it comes up, I'm like sitting there doing something else, and they call me up. They're like, "Are you ready to go on the air?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Weird.
I'd love to see Dan do sports, man.
Weird, Andrew.
Like
I
the old
forget.
days.
Not
He was
completely
awesome at that.
prepared.
I forget. I forget a lot.
Everybody, we will see you back here Monday. Monday.
I thought we
Probably.
were going Tuesday.
No, Monday. It's Monday. I make executive decision
So
Monday.
So
because I'll be at the firehouse on Tuesday.
we
You
can't
can
do it Tuesday.
You can do it on Tuesday if you want.
Monday.
All right, it's gonna be
Wait,
Monday.
are we doing Monday or Tuesday?
Monday,
What time Monday?
6 o'clock. Monday.
6 p.m. Monday. Be here.